Hey everybody, it's Darth Jagger here today from Chill Monkey Brains, and today we're going to talk about comic books, more specifically, the Marvel Battlestar Galactica run from the 1970s.
There are those who believe that life here began out there, far across the universe, with tribes of humans who may have been the forefathers of the Egyptians, or the Toltecs, or the Mayans. Some believe that there may yet be brothers of man who even now fight to survive somewhere beyond the heavens.
For those who may not know, Battlestar Galactica was a sci-fi action television show created by Glenn A. Larson that aired on ABC television for one season from September 1978 to April 1979. It followed the lives of the last human survivors of a Holocaust, which alien lizard men called Cylons from the planet Cylon, are you keeping up? And their robot Centurion soldiers attacked and killed most of the humans in the 12 colony planets of mankind. The remaining humans gathered in their ragtag fugitive fleet and fled into deep space, led by the last Battlestar, the Galactica. Then the show was canceled after one season, but eventually was reimagined by Ronald D. Moore in 2004, a fantastic series in its own right that ran for 4 seasons, spawned an underappreciated prequel series and a couple of TV movies. But this video is about the little-known Marvel comic book series based on the original 1978 series that was sometimes better than the show from which it was based. So from 1979 to 1981, Marvel Comics published their Battlestar Galactica comic book series, starting off with adapting the first 3 episodes of the TV show, which was basically a slightly truncated version of Saga of a Star World, written by Roger McKenzie, who comic fans from the day will remember from his dark, gritty Daredevil run. It had art from Ernie Collin. Artwork is decent for the most part. It does tend to look a little rushed in places, especially the final battle in the 3rd issue, which on TV takes about 5 minutes of screen time, but is sort of scrunched into a single page in the comic. Issues 4 and 5 adapt the TV episodes The Lost Planet of the Gods, and here we get a taste of the creative team that would do probably the majority of the work on this series going forward, with the writing duties going to Mackenzie and the great Walt Simonson on pencils, with Klaus Janson doing the inking. The art's definitely a step up, but Marvel still has that adaptation problem of trying to cram a 45-minute TV script into a 23-page book, resulting in, the rushed ending again. With issue 6, we start getting original stories, beginning with the Memory Machine arc, in which we see Commander Adama seal himself away in a plot device gimmick machine that's supposed to allow him to remember some ancient writings he glimpsed in the Pyramid of Kobol in the last issue. The writings that point the way to Earth. The writers keep this gimmick going till issue 12, which I suppose means that everything in those issues takes place between the TV episodes 5 and 6. The gimmick also allows the writers to tell flashback stories from before the Cylon apocalypse. Issue 7, we found out that Adama and Baltar were together back in the day going to Space West Point, and it shows us what we always kind of suspected, that Baltar always was a bit of an a-hole, to put it kindly. Issue 8 gives us another flashback with a young Adama and Ty on a secret mission to the colony planet of Scorpia. The issue shows the colonists of Scorpia having built their own subservient robots decades before what we saw in Ron Moore's Battlestar reboot. Issue 9 sees a space mimic infiltrate the Galactica crew, and the mystery of the missing agricultural ship set up in issue 6 deepens. And what one notices upon reading these books is that they seem to have a stronger, more mature storytelling style than the TV show was even based on. The characters, the stories, even the side stories, are more developed and, frankly, more believable. Well, at least as believable as they can be for a sci-fi comic book from the 70s anyway. I mean, this book, to be honest, It's far better than it has any right to be. By this point in the overall arc of the comic, if the characters can't repair the slower ships in the fleet by upgrading their star drives to faster than light travel and find the missing aggro ship, the survivors face starvation or obliteration by the Cylons when they finally catch up with them. Issue 10, This Planet Hungers, written by Tom DeFalco with art by Pat Broderick, features another flashback from the mind of Commander Adama, with some crazy, awesome visuals, and likes of which, you never could have done on the TV show with the budget they had, even though it was a substantial budget. The story takes place prior to the Cylon attack on the colonies, involves the discovery of a rogue planet that seems very much to be a living thing. The story almost seems like something you would have seen in the original Star Trek series back in the day, with the main antagonist being not exactly what he or it appears to be. And, there's just some stunning artwork in this issue. Number 11, Scavenge World. The team of Mackenzie, Simonson, Jansen are back, and the missing aggro ship is found in a spatial void, having been stolen by alien scavengers and added to the monstrosity of a space station. Issue 12 finally brings us the end of the Memory Machine arc. In this issue, Lieutenant Starbuck must make a decision to save the fleet at the possible cost of his own life. Issue 13, Collision Course, is wall-to-wall action as the Cylon fleets have finally caught up with the Colonials, and they must fight it out against 3 Cylon-based ships for the survival of all mankind. And then we get to my problem. As of this recording, I'm still missing issues 14, 17, 18, and 20, but I have it on pretty good authority that they're pretty darn good. I'll just have to wait and see. 15 is called Derelict, and the Galactica crew investigates a distress signal for an older Caprican battlecruiser. Things are not quite what they seem. This book tells a tale of the survivors of Caprica, and again, decades before Ron Moore did similar stories in his reimagining, this story goes on to explain what was thought of at the time, I think, as a plot hole in the original series, which was, why couldn't they just sneak away, double back around the Cylon fleet, and settle on one of the colony worlds again? Well, according to this story, the Cylons laced the ecosystems of the colony worlds with a deadly virus that killed all who were left behind, leaving the planets uninhabitable should anybody return to them. Pretty dark stuff, but, the whole extermination of mankind is pretty dark from the beginning, right? We also learn in this issue the true fate of Commander Adama's wife. Certainly a standout issue. But wait, issue 16 comes along. My love for you is like a truck berserker. Features some of the truly superb artwork by Simonson, doing his pencils, inks, and colors. This time, the story features a Cylon ace pilot who's been decimating the fleet and its Viper pilots, while at the same time, the Galactica's chief engineer races against time to disarm a satellite-linked bomb that threatens to destroy an entire planet. Can Captain Apollo defeat the menace of the Cylon Mark III? Well, you just have to read it to find out. This also marks the end of Roger Mackenzie's run on the series, and it seems like he saved his best story for last. Number 19, The Daring Escape of the Space Cowboy. Simonson wrote and drew this one, with Jansen once again coming in on the inks. The Galacta is alerted to a strange-looking starship on an intercept course with the fleet. When it crash lands into the Galactica's landing bay, we find Lieutenant Starbuck has returned. He's back, baby! He goes on to tell the tale of his escape from Scavenge World, and the book ends with alien scavengers closing in on the colonial fleet. Another solid issue, both art and story-wise. Number 21, A World for the Killing, has Athena crash landing on an alien world inhabited by a single lonely being who wants to do nothing more than to make all her dreams come true. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Jolly goes undercover in the fleet to stop a group of food pirates that have been robbing colonial ships. We're down to the last couple of issues with this one, and it looks like the creative team knew that they were going to be canceled and decided to write an arc with a definitive ending to the story, something the TV series never gave us. The last 2 issues, 22 and 23, have Jolly undercover, the Quorum of 12 ready to overthrow Commander Adama if they don't see any progress in locating Earth. But, at least the fleet now has enough food to last them for years. The ship from issue 19 turns out to be an ancient migration ship from Kobol that has information on how to get to Earth. And eventually, with the knowledge gained from his time in the Memory Machine and what can be deciphered from the ancient starship,
the Galactica finally plots its course for the shining planet known as Earth. And that's it. I mean, this entire comic run was only 23 issues long, but for the most part, it was a pretty solid read. I enjoyed what I did read. I hope to find the last few issues that I don't have pretty soon. I mean, that would be awesome. But like I said, this comic was way better than it had any right to be. And that's, I think, thanks to the creative teams behind it taking the work seriously. And I think genuinely enjoying the source material and what they could make of it. But hey, anybody else read these books? Did you like them? Did you hate them? Let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next video.